Hi. Just going to come across and get the clicker. You're right, it is a really long way. What a pleasure to be here. So some people say I have a really, really exciting job. Some people say I have a really, really hard job. I'd agree with both of those people. It's my job to make sure that clients don't restrict us too much. It's my job to instigate change, both inside our organization and inside our clients' organization as well. And change is something that can be exciting. It can be terrifying. One of my mentors once said to me, if you're not shitting yourself just a little bit, then it's not creative enough. And I've kind of taken that with me. But the C word that I want to talk about today isn't change, although that's a part of it. I actually wanted to talk about culture. So I started as a designer. I then used to build sort of basic brand websites before moving into the strategy and the planning side of things. And essentially one of the things that I've learnt through every job that I've had, right up till now, which didn't really exist when I was first starting out, is that culture sits at the heart of everything we do. And when we look at the definition of culture, it's about the ideas, the customs, or the social behavior of a particular people or society. So I imagine every single person in this audience is part of several cultures, several communities, however you want to describe that. At Adam and Eve, we ask ourselves one question before we start working with any brand, and that's, what are we here to do today? And we believe it's to establish a famous connection with culture. We're quite well known for the work that we do with John Lewis, where arguably we've created their Christmas culture. It's now the most anticipated Christmas ad in the world. We do make telly ads. We do also do other stuff as well. We do a lot of work on clients like Volkswagen, and we actually work with Tribal, who are one of the sponsors. They're part of the DDB family as well, and we make sure that we stay connected to culture through the experience. Often connecting more deeply, and I'll touch on this case study, which was for Manchester United and Google, trying to find a way to work with those cultures to become more deeply connected with consumers, because essentially that's what will prove to shift the bottom line. And we talk a lot about emotion and how we connect with different cultures. But everything's changed, and everything's going to continue to change around us. Technology means that we have access to whatever we want, whenever we want it. We live in a world of instant gratification, which means that if you can't buy something from a brand in one place, you will immediately go to somewhere else. If you can't get it in one store online, you'll immediately go to somewhere else. And if you ask any expert, any futurist, these are the kind of people that I hang around with in my day job, they will tell you that the next 25 years is going to change more than the last 200, and that's largely in part because of the automation, because of artificial intelligence, and because of the infrastructure that is allowing us to adopt technology faster. Today, I'm using a remote control. If I was doing this in 5 years, I might be using motion gesture. Today, we sign on with thumbs. Tomorrow with our voices, if you're not already doing that. Today we pay with NFC, tomorrow we're going to be using facial sign-on. Single sign-on, our face is going to become our identity. Kind of makes me laugh, because when you see Minority Report, that was set in 2056. And apart from the fact that we're not scooping our eyeballs out now to change identity, all of this technology exists around us. So we are essentially, as designers, as creators, as copywriters, we're designing for a world where there are more ways to connect with our audience than ever before. But one thing remains true, that we are still creators and consumers of culture. I was lucky enough to judge Cannes this year. I was on the jury the mobile jury. And I was talking to a couple of the guys there, one in particular, who's the global CCO of Ogilvy. And he said this, and this was quoted a lot in the press as well: the true integration is about transcending intermedia and integrating into culture and society. And so I believe that as brands we have some options. And what I wanted to show today was a few case studies that I have seen this year, or over the last couple of years, that I think do a good job of that, and just talk about the different ways to infiltrate culture or leverage culture to essentially establish a brand. So we can pioneer a path that joins an existing culture. I don't know if you're familiar with this brand. This is one I came across quite recently. So Freytag make backpacks out of truck tarp. And they're an incredibly durable bag, very sturdy, very ideal, but they come with a price tag of £240, which is quite pricey if you're going on holiday for maybe a month or two. And so they really started to listen and understand the traveling culture, the explorer culture. And obviously one of the things that people do the most is take a lot of photographs and post across all of the social channels. Used to Dotsirs, I'm sure. So what they decided to do was allow people to pick up one of these bags for free for anything up to 3 weeks, as long as they posted pictures as they went along. So they're pioneering a culture that's quite widely known. Domino's, so the I don't have any time today culture. So they are proving themselves to be a cultural leader. They have an anywhere strategy, which is essentially wherever you are, they will get a pizza to you. So you could be driving in your car down the motorway on your way home, stuck in some traffic, and decide what I need right now is a pepperoni pizza. And they will get it to you. They'll drive along upside next to you and hand your pizza over, all tracked through GPS, or your wearable. So I'd think that's kind of pioneering how to get into the I need the pizza culture. One of our clients is Waitrose. This is actually a piece of work that we did last year, and it was amidst a lot of controversy around horse meat in burgers. I don't know if any of you remember that story. And they were really worried about the fact that their integrity was being challenged and that the way that they ethically sourced their food didn't have resonance with their audience. And so what we decided to do was, rather than create a shiny television ad, we attached GoPros to cowbells, we put them inside chicken coops, and we streamed live. And that was a 15-second spot, and it went live, same day, broadcast into television, outdoor and online. And we invited them into our culture. We can also leverage cultures in pioneering ways. Any football fans in the room? A few. I'm surprised. I thought there might be a few more. So this is something that we did working with Google. And essentially, the football culture is a worldwide one. But there are a lot of people who dream about going to see the football and can't afford the ticket to get all the way over to Old Trafford if you're based in Brazil or the Philippines. And so we decided to leverage technology and create an experience and design an experience that allowed cultures to experience something a little bit different.
I've never been to Old Trafford. It's on my bucket list. It's going to be a day that I will never forget.
This is a picture of Wayne Rooney that I did, and I made this too. It's made it with strips of paper.
It's not possible, my name, Luis.
This is my identity. When I put on my shirt, it's like I've put on an armor.
I'm from Namibia. I've been in Union for 12 years.
It's definitely a dream to go to Old Trafford.
To just watch one game at Old Trafford, one game, and I'll be satisfied.
It's the home of Manchester United, the history, all the players, but it's like 9,000 kilometers.
To be part of the team at the stadium, live watching it.
I'm very excited to be in the front row team. I feel over the moon. I didn't expect this to happen.
Being in the stadium with the other fans and being together and the passion and the craziness, the energy, it's going to be amazing.
Be one of those chosen to represent the others all over the world and be there in the front row.
Please welcome fans from around the world joining us live at Old Trafford via Google Plus.
There's the foodie culture as well. And we have a few of these, Abel and Cole, fresh. But Galsto, I think, have designed a really nice experience. The box is beautiful, the way they package things up is beautiful, the service design is beautiful, and the people that support the service design on the phone are super friendly and super useful. So this is another way of halving the effort that it takes to create something that looks like you would be eating in a restaurant in the comfort of your own home. At Cannes this year, this came up time and time again, and the next two case studies are those, damn, I really wish I'd thought of that. And this, for me, leverages a few different cultures. It leverages a mobile first. I know that's a bit inverted commas for the designers in the audience. But it leverages that movement and that culture to drive footfall in store. But really cleverly what they've done is they've taken an online movement or a culture about you're not yourself when you're hungry, which is the essence of Snickers when you look at them now, and they created the hungerism.
Guys, what colour is this sock? Blue? You're the dumbest ever.
Gold, you idiot.
The internet is an angry place. But what if that's just because we're hungry? Luckily, Snickers has created the Hungerism, a hunger algorithm that monitors the mood of the internet. So when anger goes up, Snickers prices at 7-Eleven go down. Now when the weather's crappy, you get cheaper Snickers.
Global warming sucks.
Political scandal, cheaper Snickers.
I don't understand.
Meteor strike, definitely cheaper Snickers.
So over meteors.
To lock in a price, hit Get a Snickers on your mobile to get a reduced price barcode, then simply head down to your local 7-Eleven to claim your Snickers. Snickers Hungerism. The angrier the internet, the cheaper the Snickers. Get your low price bar at snickers.com.au. You're not you when you're hungry.
Genius, right? Another one I really wish I'd thought of, actually, and this is a great agency in Paris called BTC, and I was, again, lucky enough to work with the creative director who was on the mobile jury, and he told me a lot about this, and he was talking about the way that social has put a lot of pressure on culture, on society. So you look at this, and you know, we all like to keep up with the Joneses, as it were. That's a very British way of saying looking cool. And we like to share that on social channels. We like to be seen, to be in the moment, to be cool. And sometimes a place for a brand is to understand how to penetrate that culture, to perhaps drive some deeper meaning.
It's easy to miss the alcoholism of someone close. Our proximity prevents us from spotting the early signs of addiction. AddictAid, an organization specialized in alcohol addiction, wanted to highlight this difficulty. For that, we created an addict.
Louise Delage.
Louise Delage. Louise Delage.
Louise Delage.
On the 1st of August 2016, Louise Delage appeared on Instagram. Like with any other user, her life looked perfect and carefree. Her account gained a lot of organic followers by using growth-hacking actionable techniques, including trending thematic hashtags, key opinion leaders, and automated bots. In 7 weeks, her photos and videos had over 50,000 likes, but her followers missed the most important thing, until her last post. "24 hours after the reveal, hashtag Louise Delage became a trending topic in France. 2 weeks later, the campaign had been shared 500,000 times, and more than 110,000 people were following her account. Louise Delage was covered by media on every continent. With zero media investments, it generated 1 billion media impressions for 9.8 million of earned media. But the most important result, the campaign raised awareness of our perception of alcoholism.
And the whole point about creating the social media campaign was an attempt to show how easily we can overlook signs of addiction.
So incredibly powerful. And the next section has a couple of slightly more controversial case studies in, I think. And for me, this takes it to the next level. And this is really around harnessing the human power that we have in cultures. Because we are all in this together, as designers, as creators, as developers in the industry, we're all about harnessing, but we're also all about the human truths that sit behind it. So to be able to use those cultures and create things for those cultures, to basically fight for the greater good, I think is something we should never underestimate. This is a fantastic example of how you take gay pride and a gaming culture, and you put two quite seemingly from the outside controversially different cultures together to really cut through the clutter.
Welcome to Los Santos, the city of Grand Theft Auto 5. This is one of the most popular video games in the world. It's famous for its brilliant story, but also for the violence. Yeah, you see, there's a lot of stuff like this. And this. And this. And this. Dumbass. You could say that this city is in desperate need of love. And that's why the Stockholm Pride Festival created the unofficial modification, Los Santos Pride.
I wanna know, hey, yeah, hey, yeah. Where do we go? From
the modification was free to download, so everyone could have their own digital pride parade inside the game. And it included new custom-made clothes, like this shirt. Or this one. We also created signs, flags, and, face paint. The parade was launched with a trailer on YouTube and Facebook.
How are you, Los Santos? It's time to get ready for the first Pride Parade in the history of the city.
And just hours after the launch, Los Santos Pride became a huge topic in media. And the parade is impossible to destroy. Why? Well, because love always wins.
Slightly cheesy ending there. Any Trump fans in the house? Good. Because one of the things that I absolutely loved about this was the two big fat fingers that it stuck up to him when he invoked the travel ban. And I think as a brand, Airbnb stand for belonging anywhere. And as soon as he invoked the travel ban, this is what they put across social. And I think this is a really good encapsulation of how a brand can embrace and support culture. And if we get all of this right, we can create new cultures. And this is when brands can really come into their own, and how we can really start to create a movement. And I'm going to just end with three case studies that I believe have done this. Two I imagine everybody in the room will have heard of. And the third, I think, is a different type of culture. Nike don't just make running shoes. I think everybody here probably knows that. Nike embrace running. They embrace the fact that everybody has a body and therefore everybody can become an athlete. At my last agency, I used to work on this account, and every single brief that we had in was about how we can help the running culture, how we can inspire people more, how we can support them more, how we can enable them to do more, to do better more often. And it's at the very heart of their ethos. And I'm picking running because it's something that everybody can do, but it goes across every single part of their business. And I think this note from their CEO kind of signs it up really nicely. There's not really much surprise that they're one of the top global brands. From one to another, I imagine that everybody's had a Starbucks coffee in their lifetime. But one of the things with Starbucks is that their whole foundation is built on the moment that they actually hand the coffee cup over. So they don't talk about making coffee, they don't talk about giving coffee, they talk about that connection from one human to another when they hand a cup of coffee over the counter and how that might change somebody's day. And the whole ethos of Starbucks is built around creating cultures and places where people can connect. And my final one is sort of proving the full circle that brands can go when it comes to culture. Because if you actually establish yourself in culture, you become popular culture, and popular culture becomes a phenomenon, and a phenomenon establishes a brand, and essentially fame is the gift that keeps on giving. And I think that's something that the Gorillaz have done really well. So I don't know how many of you are Gorillaz fans or Blondie fans, but you can probably spot the parody with the outfit being worn in the middle. There's a really cool blog post, I've just put the link at the top, that I came across when I was pulling these charts together. And it does a really good job of explaining it all. But one of the things that I like about the Gorillaz and the team behind not just the music and the actual characters themselves, but everybody they work with, they really try and understand who their audience is and what their audience want and how to design experiences that are fit for purpose. And I've judged a few different awards this year, and this has blown me away every single time.
How do you welcome back the world's greatest virtual band after a 7-year hiatus? You put on the world's most mind-blowing virtual house party. First, we built a house, a mixed reality kind of virtual house. That erases the line between reality and Gorillaz. And immerses fans in Gorillaz lore like never before. Then, we threw a party. Over 500 global, geolocated, augmented reality kind of parties. 125,000 fans around the world searched for the AR house in 146 countries to stream the new album, Humans, together for the first time. Fans and the press alike have gone bananas. Everybody's talking about gorillas.
All my life, I'm in a stick in Marrakesh.
Humans album release is a global success, hitting the #1 spot in over 30 countries. Nice way to retain the title of the world's most cutting-edge band.
So hopefully what I've shown you there by picking a few of my favorites from around the globe is that it doesn't matter what you're designing for, who you're designing for, what your role is in that. Essentially, at the end of the day, success is establishing a place in culture or leveraging culture, because that means that you have connected with your audience in meaningful ways, and that establishes your brand. So your brand is your culture is your brand. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. I've got one question for you, if you don't mind. Thank you very much. We've had our hashtag hijack, which is good.
Oh.
Yeah, so we've got loads and loads of tweets, which are fantastic, and loads of interest in your talk, which is great.
Great. Thank you.
So one thing I've noticed by going through your portfolio and all the stuff you worked on is you're very good at convincing people to do what they don't necessarily want to do.
Yes.
And I just wonder how on earth do you go about that? I mean, for instance, I saw the Nissan stuff for Infinity, and you managed to convince them for you guys, the agency you're working with at the time, to do a pitch.
Yes.
And that seemed like a pretty ballsy move.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think there's a few different things. Firstly, it's like if you feel that you've got the right answer, just go for it.
Yeah.
Have faith in yourself.
Yeah.
I think as a creative or a strategist, fighting for something that you believe is good and right. I think the other thing is understanding what your clients need to hear. So going in with something incredibly creative or beautifully crafted, whilst it might be the answer, if it doesn't meet their objectives or demonstrably move their business or brand on, then they're never going to buy it.
Yeah,
so it's a case of why are we doing this, what are we doing, and how are we going to make sure it's either the first thing or the best thing. And I think if you can live by those mantras, then success will follow.
Perfect. Good words to live by. Thank you very much, Karen.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you.